In a quiet village nestled beside a winding river, there lived an old man named Michael. His face was lined with age, but his eyes sparkled with a warmth that never seemed to fade. No matter what life threw his way, he wore a perpetual smile that seemed to light up even the gloomiest days. One sunny afternoon, a young man named Cyrus, burdened by the weight of his own struggles, approached Michael as he sat on a weathered bench by the riverbank. The water flowed gently, reflecting the sunlight like 1,000 tiny diamonds. "Michael," Cyrus began, his voice heavy with frustration, "you're always so happy. How do you stay that way? Doesn't life ever bring you down?" Michael's gaze softened as he looked toward the river. "Life is a lot like this river," he said quietly. "It can be calm, it can be stormy, but it always keeps moving forward." Cyrus frowned, watching the churning water. "But what if the storm never stops? What if it just keeps raging?" Michael's smile faltered for just a moment, and he turned to face the young man. "When I was your age, I had everything. A wife, a son, a home by the river. We didn't have much, but we were happy. Then one winter, my wife grew ill. We didn't have the money for medicine, and despite every prayer, she passed away." Cyrus's heart clenched. "I'm so sorry. That must have been unbearable." Michael's voice softened, but there was a quiet strength in it. "It was the darkest time of my life. For months, I couldn't see beyond the grief. I felt like I was drowning in my own pain. But one day, I sat right here by this river. The storm was fierce, the clouds dark and heavy. I felt lost, like I was being swept away." He paused, his eyes distant as if he were reliving that moment. But then, something happened. A beam of sunlight broke through the clouds, just for a moment. It caught the water, and for that brief second, the river shimmered, glowing. The storm didn't stop, but the river kept moving. Cyrus watched the turbulent waters, trying to make sense of Michael's words. "And that's when you decided to move on?" Michael nodded, his gaze steady. "That's when I realized something important. The river doesn't stop for anyone. No matter how fierce the storm, it keeps flowing. I couldn't let grief stop me. My son still needed me. Life wasn't over, it was still moving, just like that river." Cyrus looked down, his mind wrestling with the weight of Michael's words. "But what if the storm never ends? What if the pain doesn't go away?" Michael's voice was calm but firm. "When the storm is at its worst, remember this. This too shall pass. The river doesn't stay in the storm. It will always find its way back to calm waters. And in those hardest moments, when you feel like you can't keep going, you'll find a strength inside you that you never knew was there." A long silence passed between them. Cyrus stood there, his eyes fixed on the river, the sound of the water washing over him, and Michael's words lingering in his mind. Finally, he turned back to the old man, his voice quieter now. "So, happiness is a choice, isn't it?" Michael's smile returned, warmer than ever. "Exactly. Happiness isn't about waiting for life to be perfect. It's about choosing to keep moving, to find something to be grateful for, even when the storm rages. The river keeps going, so we must too." Cyrus stood there for a while, watching the river. The storm hadn't passed, but something inside him had shifted. He had always thought that happiness came when life was smooth, when there were no challenges. But now, standing beside this wise old man, he began to understand that happiness was about resilience. It was about moving forward, even when life seemed like a never-ending storm. As he turned to leave, he could feel the faintest glimmer of hope. It wasn't that the storm had gone away. It was that, just like the river, he could keep moving forward, no matter what. With each step away from the riverbank, Cyrus felt lighter. He realized that life would always have its storms, but he had the power to choose how to respond. He could embrace the challenges, find joy in small moments, and keep flowing. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting tales.